Hey guys, welcome to another video. It's been over a year since my last video of the Oogie Boogie skateboard painting. I decided that I would try and film the process of this board. And the idea I have for this board is doing a comic style skateboard using these comics here. I went with the Ultimate Spider-Man series. They're not in order. I have issue 2, 104, and then 160. But I decided to go with Ultimate Spider-Man overall, just to keep them in the same series. I chose Spider-Man 2 because Spider-Man is my favorite Marvel hero. But out of all the comics I had, I also had Batman, Robin, Superman, etc. So the idea here is to take these comics and pick out images, cells from each one that I want to essentially trim out and paste onto the board, which I already went ahead and painted white to give a better base coat. And when I cut these out, I'm going to cut along the black lines, taking out the border. But when I paste them on here, I plan to leave space in between each one, similar to how it's set up in the book with that white border. And then after I have everything pasted on, I'm thinking about covering the board with an epoxy resin just to give it a glossy top coat. So that's the idea here, to take these. I might only end up using these two. It won't take much to cover the board, so I'm only gonna be taking maybe a few pages worth of images from the comics. So once I have everything picked out and trimmed, I'll return and show you what I picked out. Alright, so now that I have all the comic images that I want to lay down on the board, I have them laid out here in the order that I would like them to be pasted on. The next step is to take some Mod Podge sealer, glue, and finish, and to apply some with a paintbrush under each picture where I would like them to go, and then apply a layer on top to act as a sealer. Before I start that, though, I need to trim the edges of some of these pictures so I could have a nice clean border going around the deck. I also need something to fill in this space here, or I might just decide to leave it there to add a little bit of a contrast.
Evolution on a planet I can't call mine, wasting time in a
Anyways, I just finished putting the pictures on the board. I'm satisfied with the overall layout. However, you could tell there are wrinkles from when I pasted them down. I try my best to avoid getting wrinkles. It was easier on some of these smaller pieces to avoid getting them, but on the big pieces here, you can see that I still got a fair amount of wrinkles, especially on this one here. I also trimmed some of the pictures to add the white border along the board. I decided to leave this blank. And up top, these are the last ones I did. And you can see that I tried to add multiple villains to the board. So here is from a fight with Doc Ock, but you wouldn't really be able to tell unless you know the comic. This one, Mysterio, self-explanatory. It's even in the dialogue here. A better image of Doc Ock. The majority of images I used, though, were from Peter and Human Torch's fight with Goblin, the Green Goblin, which actually was in the last issue, The Death of Spider-Man. Alright, so I'm currently outside with the board here. About to spray some Rust-Oleum clear gloss. This is the gloss I'll use for all of my boards. It's pretty good. It has good coverage. I go through a lot of it though, so I have to try to stock up whenever I go to the store. Home Depot usually. Alright. Pretty nice. You have to be careful with these gloss coats, because putting too much can cause it to crack. Although there's already wrinkles from the comics, but I don't want it to end up looking worse. I know I had mentioned that I was gonna be using a coat of epoxy, but I ended up not doing that. And instead I'm using this clear gloss. I can see the paint's kind of already starting to crack from this. That's what I was saying before. You gotta watch out when it comes to this stuff, because it bubbles up there, and down here. It's really bad. So I'm gonna have to sand it and paint over it, which isn't really that much of a problem. Other than that little cracks that are forming in there and right here, it looks pretty good. Also wanted to take a minute to showcase my other work. These are some old projects I did. This is an old nickel board I used to ride. And you could kind of see the color through the paint. I didn't add enough layers to it to actually conceal the old design. But I put something new over it. Something I was trying out, this whole space thing. This is an old board I found. Somebody left at the skate park. And I decided to use this as like a test board for the spray paint. These ones over here, these are boards that I am selling, all except the Invader Zim. This is one that I had already made for somebody, but the design itself is open for requests. This is my brand board, the first board I've ever painted with a marble slate pattern to it. Again, the Invader Zim board, I'll be able to make more with that same design. I actually hydro dipped this. That's how I got this one on here too. This one I did recently. It has like paint cell design to it. I don't really like how this one turned out because it does have a good amount of cells in it, but they're not as big as I would like them to have been. Also, I feel like I should have added some more colors in there, because this is a mix of a blue and kind of a blue-green. And then here I have my Cartoon Network collection featuring Boskov from Evil Con Carne, Zorak from the show Space Ghost, and then Space Ghost himself. And I call the series Halcyon Network. My brand name fit perfectly in place of Cartoon Network. All of these are 8.5. The paint cell is 8.0. This one here is a 7. I don't know what size this one is, and this one is a standard penny nickel. Let's see how this board's looking now. Again, I'm gonna have to sand that little wrinkle right there. And paint over it. Yeah. Same here. Here. Right here. But I like how this one turned out. And I'll definitely be doing more of these. I just need to work out the wrinkles in it, as well as the little bubbles that form. Yeah, if you like the video, give a thumbs up. These boards here, I have an Instagram account where you could follow me and send me a DM if you're interested in buying one or having a custom deck made for you or someone you know. I also have a Etsy shop set up, and I will leave the link down below. Again, if you're interested in buying one for yourself or someone you know. Thanks for watching.